Hello, this is Doug Wilkerson with episode 9 of Old School Boxing Talk. Okay, let's see. What this weekend here we got Terrence Crawford get ready to fight Victor Postyle. And we got a bunch of interesting fights coming up. Later on, of course, later this year we got Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev coming up. We've got some good fights. Of course, we've got the Golovkin Kell Brook fight, which it is what it is. I'm sorry, but I'm just not hyped on that fight. And the reason is, in my opinion, the reason I'm not hyped on that fight is not one, I'm not a Golovkin hater. I'm not. I don't think Golovkin's done anything worse than the other middleweight champion who's fought welterweight champions. The problem I have with this fight is you have Eubanks Jr., which I still believe you guys didn't want that fight, and you found a way to tell everybody Eubanks Jr. priced himself out of that fight. Bull. If you wanted to fight, you'd have made the fight happen. You have Danny Jacobs, who's your mandatory. Why aren't you fighting Danny Jacobs, who is your mandatory? Again, you didn't want that fight. You didn't want that work. And that's why I have a problem with it. As far as Kell Brook is concerned, okay, you've been fighting a bunch of IBF nobody mandatories and whatever, and not testing yourself. And I think the reason you haven't been testing yourself and your promoter hasn't allowed you to be tested is because you got lucky against Sean Porter, and they know what a lot of us know, that maybe you're just not as good as you think. That undefeated record is smoke and mirrors. As I said in my last one, I said I would not be surprised to see Kell Brook jump up here, fight Golovkin, lose to Golovkin, go down, vacate the IBF title, go down to 154 and try to finagle his way into a fight with Canelo. Because then he could say, well, I was too small for that, but blah, 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 155 again, and we have common opponents, yada, yada, yada. I could see that happening. Because let's face it, if Canelo is serious about, or if Oscar and Canelo are to be believed, they're supposed to fight Golovkin sometime next year. So I could see a scenario where Canelo wins his WBO title, and maybe his first fight in May of next year, or Cinco de Mayo of next year, is against Kell Brooks. And then after he gets done with Kell Brooks, he does jump up to fight Golovkin. That would be a good scenario. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I don't think it is going to happen. I think something will happen between now and then that'll say, well, and Oscar have a million and one excuses again. This video was just going to be, I don't even have a theme for this video, because the last one I had the bait and switch, and I had a theme for that one. This is just going to be me just telling you what I'm thinking about this, what's going on in boxing, and also about what I'm seeing on YouTube. I've been a boxing fan all my life. I boxed myself in the Marines and outside, so I really have a vast knowledge of this sport. I listen to a lot of people on here. My man Moya Baines 74 is one of the guys I listen to. The gentleman on blackboxingfans.com, another gentleman I listen to. Love his thing, Dante's Boxing Nation. I listen to, I like to listen to a little bit. I listen to Thunderbox, Anthony on Thunderbox. I listen to a lot of different people, and what I'm seeing a lot of the time. Sorry, I'm doing this video. I'm at work. I'm on a break at work, so I'm doing this video at work. What I see is a lot of bias in the boxing media. And what I mean by bias is this. Like I said, Thunderdome Boxing. I started listening to him, and I listened to him, and Sometimes he says something that, catch my eye. Sometimes he says something that makes you go, whoa, where the hell did that come from? And then I'll listen to the other two gentlemen, blackboxingfans.com, Moya Bain 74, and those guys are on point. They're impartial, right down the middle. Whereas Anthony with Thunderbox seems like he's just totally, he's totally biased toward who he likes, and it seems like we have this thing called the irrelevant list, which is some of the best fighters in the world, Rigondeaux, Andre Ward, Laura, are on this list. And it seems like these are the guys, when I listen to Anthony and I listen to some of the other people, these are the guys that are being demonized for some crazy reason. They're being demonized. Allison Laura, nobody wants to fight him. I just recently heard where the WBA, who has 20 million champions per division, but says we're going to clean it up. Yeah, right. The WBA decided to make the regular champion, the mandatory for the WBA regular champion is now Dennis Andrades. Okay, Boo Boo gets that. That's a pretty good fight for Boo Boo. I'd rather see Boo Boo fight Laura, but it is what it is. I also see the wretched WBA saying we want to clean up all these titles. Well, hey, how about this? Why don't you start with this? And this is just a thought that could happen. I wouldn't mind seeing it happening, and I'm sure we could get it broadcast over here. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Since the WBA is saying we want to clear up these champions, because it seems like the WBA also has a double standard, depending on who you are. Like the WBA regular champion Keith Thurman has been told he has to fight the WBA regular champion, has X amount of days to sign to fight this WBA regular champion. Because like I said, once again, the WBA is, the WBA is trying to clear up all these champions they have per division. Get rid of, and I don't have a problem with that. Their regular champion fighting the quote-unquote super champion. I don't have a problem with that. My problem is how you employ it. Whereas Danny Jacobs is the mandatory for Golovkin, yet you're saying, well, we won't stand in the way of Golovkin Brooks. Ask us for special permission, which they're going to get, and we'll let you fight. We'll let you fight that fight. We're not going to get in the way of that. Why? Because the sanction fee, which is what I have a problem with all of these governing bodies about, is these outlandish sanctioning fees. I think they're useless. I think they're worthless. I think that's where I think Congress needs to step in and say, hey, we need to stop this, because imagine, I respect the fact that when you want, Golovkin says he wants all the belts. And okay, I say you want all the belts. And we talk about what these fighters are making. Imagine how much and this is why a lot of times these unification fights don't take place, or guys vacate belts, because if you hold 2 belts to go in there and defend that shit, you got to pay 2 sanctioning fees. Now, imagine it. You got to pay 2 sanction fees to 2 organizations. This is one of the things in boxing I screamed about for a long time, getting rid of these governing bodies. I would like to see a big tournament where WBA, WBC versus WBO, WBA versus IBF, boom, and the losers are gone. I hated back in the day when I was coming up and being a boxing fan, it was just WBC and WBA, and it was a pain in the ass having 2 champions. Now look at how big a pain it is having 4. 5 if you count the IBO. The business of boxing has gotten into the way of, people think it's the fighters, but it's not. It's the business of boxing. It's these governing bodies. And it's the fact that as much as we all say we don't want the government to get involved, sometimes the government needs to step in and say, wait a minute here. This is going too damn far. This is why boxing fans are wondering why the UFC and MMA is taking over. Because you know what? You can go down a list of the UFC and know who the champion is in every division. Unless there's like somebody's hurt, there's an interim champion. But outside, it's not like three guys in UFC saying I'm the heavyweight champion. It's not like three guys. You know, it's not like I mean, I'll be like, okay, we got Holly Holmes. Holly Holmes Ronda Rousey's is UFC Super Women's Bantamweight champion. Holly Holmes is the regular champion, and Miesha Tate's the interim champion. And then Miesha Tate, who just lost, well, now the Julia Pena would be the interim champion. Or whatever. You know, you have a bunch of three people wearing belts. UFC's like, no. If a champion is hurt, we have an interim champion. You know what they do? As soon as that interim champion comes back, those two bang it out because we're going to have one champion. I'm the, you know, the situation they wanted to clear up with John Jones and Daniel Cormier. I think that's the case now where what happened with John Jones, a drug issue, that they just probably well, Daniel Cormier has been elevated to full champion. I mean, the fact that, you know, John Jones was stripped of the title from his last incident, but the point is, you know, there's one champion. If, you know, John Jones gets his shit together, comes back and they fight and he beats Daniel Cormier, he'll be a two-time light heavyweight champion. First one in the UFC's history. But the point is, there's one champion. One guy. He's the guy. I would love to see the same thing in boxing, but like I said, once again, it's the promoters and it's these greedy damn sanctioning bodies. You know, it seems like Bob Arum has decided to suckle the tit of the WBO after getting caught. After getting caught and, you know, went to court, him and the IBF, for buying rankings. Bob Arum is still in boxing. I mean, that thing there, promoters buying, you know, he got caught in a federal sting. That should have done it up. The federal government should have just ended the IBF there, ended Bob Arum, and they both should have been done. But only in boxing can you get convicted of doing wrongdoings, which Bob Arum was convicted of. The IBF was convicted, and they're still both allowed to be in the business. They should both be gone. For that incident alone, they should both be gone, but they're both there. And Bob Arum has the nerve to tell everybody else, you know, what's wrong with boxing and this, and that. And he's the biggest racist piece of garbage ever. And what's funny about this is this. Bob Arum, like a lot of these other promoters, don't like blacks and Latinos, but how did they build their fortunes? Yeah, Bob Arum's a Yale grad, Harvard lawyer, and whatever. I mean, props to that. But that's not what made Bob Arum the multi-billionaire he is today. It's guys like Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, that made Bob Arum who he is and what he is. Black fighters, Aaron Pryor, and the list goes on and on, of black fighters that made you. So Latino fighters, Julio Cesar Chavez, Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather. Again, African-American Latinos are the ones that made you, more so African-American fighters than anything else, and yet you shit on African-American fighters. And it's kind of funny that a lot of your racist propaganda has gone unchecked. But now all of a sudden it's starting to be exposed. You're starting to open your mouth more and people are starting to be like, oh my gosh. I mean, black fighter, I don't even know why any black fighter was signed with Top Rank. Honestly, to be honest with you, I don't know why any black fighter would sign with Top Rank. Honestly, I would sign. I mean, I'm not crazy about him because of his drug issues, but honestly, I would sign with Oscar De La Hoya before I would sign. I would sign with Golden Boy. You know, first I'm going to Mayweather Promotions, and first thing, if I was a fighter right now, coming out of the Olympics, win a gold medal, I'm turning pro. First thing I'm doing is, one, I'm calling up Al Heyman. I'm going to get a hold of Al Heyman because I want him to advise me. Two, that's all I need is Al Heyman, because Al Heyman fighters are not involved, are not committed to any promoter. But what I do know about Al Heyman is he's a black man who's going to give other black men, Latinos, minorities an opportunity, and the other promotional companies we're working with. Bob Arum is a Jewish man, and and everybody says, "Oh, don't slam the Jews." And I'm not. The Holocaust was a real fucked up situation. It was. But of course, so was slavery. But we're supposed to forget slavery, but never forget 9/11. Yeah, good one, guys. And then there's the sheriff in Louisiana who says we need to forgive them for slavery. Yeah, good luck with that. the thing about it is, like I said, black fighters. If I was a black fighter, would not sign with Bob Arum at all. And I think black fighters really need to think about it. I mean, even Latino fighters getting the shits of Bob Arum. Look at Mikey Garcia, got the fuck out. And there must be something wrong with Golden Boy. But also now in the business, my boy Richard Schaefer's back. That's what my boy Richard Schaefer's back. He got his own promotional company. See, I thought Richard Schaefer would join up with Floyd Mayweather and help Mayweather Promotions. That's where I thought he was going to go. I knew he wasn't going to Top Rank. I knew, he left Golden Boy. I'm waiting for Golden Boy to fall apart. I get that another 5 years and they'll be out of the business. But make Golden Boy, the things that make Golden Boy successful are all gone now. First of all, was Richard Schaefer, and Richard Schaefer was smart enough to navigate Oscar through a lot of BS while Oscar was all busy wearing women's clothes and whatever the hell Oscar was doing other than being involved in boxing. Richard Schaefer was busy building that company. Richard Schaefer is the guy that built that company. Now, can anybody keep it together? I don't know, but Golden Boy's profile is dropped because you don't got any fighters. There's not a whole bunch of fighters running to sign with you. Richard Schaefer is the guy that built Golden Boy because he had a good relationship with Al Heyman and Floyd Mayweather, and he was able to get Al and Floyd to work with Golden Boy to help those big paydays, those big, Canelo, Floyd Mayweather versus anybody was big money, and those promotional fees that they made off from those fights helped put Golden Boy in a good damn position. Now you look at where Golden Boy is now, you don't got nobody that's making that kind of money that Floyd's making. And all the other guys, Keith Thurman, who's going to be a big star, Earl Spence Jr., they're all gone. They're all working, Mayweather Promotions got a lot of those guys that work with Al Heyman guys are now being part of Mayweather Promotion, and probably soon they'll probably put some of those guys with Richard Schaefer will probably do a couple cards with the Heyman fighters. Which is good for business. What I like is you got different promoters. Lou DiBella, who's another good guy. The point is, the Top Rank thing. I mean, I wish, like I said, I wish every black and Latino fighter that's currently under Top Rank, when their contract expires, leaves Top Rank, and let Bob Arum and Top Rank go the way of dinosaurs and move on to sport. I like to see these sanctioning bodies taken out, and taken out back and shot. Every flipping one of them. I like to see, I bitched about this before, and I asked, Black Boxing TV, and I'll say to my man Moribund 74, we lost a lot in boxing when we lost our 9 minutes. Rounds 13, 14, and 15. Those were the championship rounds. When we lost those rounds, we lost a lot. And I think it really hurt the credibility of the sport. It did, because now championship fights are 12 rounds. There used to be a time when you fought a 12 rounder to get ready to fight for a championship fight. Now guys are doing 12 rounds like it's freaking nothing, and we're bigger, faster, stronger. Give a damn. Shit, still give my 15 rounds. You can still go 15 rounds. Bigger, faster, stronger. Shit, then you should be able to go 15 rounds better than those boys in the past. I mean, you talk bigger, faster. You don't see the NFL going, so, well, we're going to go from 4 quarters to 2 quarters. We're going to have 2 quarters. We're just going to have a first half. 1 quarter is going to last 25 minutes, and the other quarter is going to last 25 minutes, and that's going to be, we're going to cut out the second quarter, we're going to cut out the third quarter because bigger, stronger, faster. Bullshit. Only in boxing can you use that excuse. Only in boxing can we come up, I want to know why. I want other people's opinion on, and if you've seen this video, please send me something. I want somebody, if you watch this, tell me why we lost 13, 14, and 15. Give me a valid argument, because I don't mind debating people. I fucking don't. I would, as long as you have boxing knowledge. Look, here's my deal. If you haven't been a boxing fan, if you haven't sat down and watched Salvador Sanchez, if you've never seen Wilfred Benitez fight live on ABC, if you've never watched if you've never seen Wide World of Sports, don't come to me talking boxing. I just don't want to hear from you. I don't, because you don't know shit about boxing. You're some Johnny come lately. You know, if you really know this sport, if you've never stepped into the ring, Max Kellerman, Jim Lampley, and had somebody punch you in the face, don't come to me talking about boxing, because you don't have the slightest idea what the hell goes on in there. I don't even want to hear from you. You got a lot of these young kids, running around. They got a little bit of boxing knowledge, very little. Don't come to me debating me if you just started watching boxing within the last year. Don't come to me and debating me if all your boxing knowledge is based on something Dan Raphael put on his stupid little blog on ESPN. Don't come to me with that, because you don't know shit about boxing. Honestly, you've never seen the greats. You've never, experienced the greatness. I mean, I'm a guy, I've been doing this. I'm 48 years old. I've been watching boxing all my life. Some of my earliest memories are of watching boxing on Saturday afternoon. Alexis Arguello on Saturday afternoon on ABC Wide World of Sports, on CBS, on NBC. That's where I go back to. Now, can I go back to somebody when they saw Sugar Ray Robinson? Hell no, I was born in 67. But I can go through the 70s. I can get up there to the 70s. I seen Duran before he went to welterweight, before Leonard. It was toward the end. I got to see Duran at 135. I got to see the great Wilfredo Benitez throughout most of his run, from junior welterweight to junior middleweight. I got to see that. I got to see Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns come up. I got to watch a lot of these great fighters. And I hear people, trying to downgrade the greats, saying, well, Hagler cherry-picked and this, that, and that. Excuse me. And it's no different than what they're doing today. Okay. First of all, anybody, and I mean anybody, that ever compares Gennady Golovkin to Marvin Hagler, you need to go outside, rip up every Ring magazine you have. Just watch the UFC. If you ever compare Gennady Golovkin to Marvin Hagler, you should never again watch boxing. You shouldn't. Okay, here's the bottom line. Marvin Hagler, in that day and era, there was only two champions. And the only division that was unified was the damn middleweight division. Marvin Hagler went to London, England to win Marvin Hagler first got his first shot against Vito Antuofermo in Vegas. Won the fight. The corrupt judges gave it a draw. Hagler never thought he was never going to another title shot. What happens? He gets one. He has to go to London, England, and he beats the crap out of Alan Mintor. And then he's beer bottles are thrown at him. He has to be escorted out of the ring. Marvin Hagler fought the best guys that were there, and trust me, the guys that he fought and beat were better than anybody Gennady Golovkin has ever sparred with. So don't tell me about Golovkin and compare Golovkin to Hagler, because I'm sorry, there is no comparisons. Gennady Golovkin is a product of HBO. And every time HBO has a product, sometimes HBO gets it right and they get a real fighter. Sometimes they get guys like Golovkin and you find that they're not as real as we thought they were. Golovkin is the latter until he proves it. Great fighters seek out fights with other greats. I would have been impressed. I wouldn't have liked it, but I would have been more impressed with Gennady Golovkin if he'd have called out Keith Thurman. Why? Because that's a more dangerous fight than Kell Brook. I would have been more impressed with Gennady Golovkin if he called Demetrius Andres out. If he called out one of the Charlo brothers. High risk reward. To be great, you have to take chances. You have to be willing to take the risk. You have to risk it. Greatness is not great fighters fight other great fighters. People say, well, Floyd Mayweather fought this guy. It don't matter when you fight him. You fight him. Because let me clear up something about Floyd Mayweather, that you people that hate on Floyd or ignorant bastards that sit there hate on Floyd. Here's the deal with Floyd. Floyd won his first title beating the Hall of Famer Gennaro Hernandez. And don't say he was shocked, because he wasn't. Floyd beat as a junior lightweight champion, Floyd totally dominated and destroyed Diego Corrales, who then turned around and was in a life and death fight with Jose Luis Castillo, another guy that Floyd beat. Floyd beat, and I'm going to get some heat for this, but I don't give a damn. Floyd beat the overrated, that's why I said overrated Arturo Gatti. And I say this again, if you look at Gatti's resume, yes, he fought a bunch of top fighters, but who did he beat that really, who the fuck did Gatti ever really beat that was worth a damn? Nobody. And that's what I'm upset with. The Boxing Hall of Fame to me is a fucking joke when Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward get the fucking, what the hell are we doing? Those guys belong in there as much as I do. But I digress. Look at Floyd Mayweather's resume. Look at who he's beaten. Miguel Cotto. He's beaten world champions. He's beaten, Robert Guerrero was on a nice run there. Great fighter. Robert Guerrero is probably one of the best top 5, 6 welterweights in the world today. But when you talk about what the guys that Floyd has beaten, name me a guy from that era from 130 to 154 that Floyd did not fight because Floyd was afraid of. And don't give me Paul Williams, and don't give me, if all you got is Paul Williams and Antonio Cheater Margarito, don't even come there, because I can counter with Shane Mosley. And don't come to me saying, oh, well, Shane Mosley was shot. No, Shane Mosley was, because Shane Mosley got the Mayweather fight right off. He beat Margarito's ass. When Margarito was caught cheating and Shane Mosley beat his ass, guess the next fight for Shane was against Floyd. So don't try to take any credit thing away from Shane Mosley when he fought Floyd. And the fact that Floyd and Mosley could have fought early, but Mosley chose not to. And it's not that Mosley was ducking Floyd. When they were both at lightweight, Shane Mosley got an opportunity to go up to fight Oscar De La Hoya. Shane Mosley dared to be great, because he didn't know he was going to win. He didn't know if he was going to win a De La Hoya fight. And that's the thing about greatness. You take risk. You don't know if you're going to win it. You don't know. Gennady Golovkin is not a great fighter. He's an undefeated fighter, an overrated undefeated fighter. I have more respect for, as much as I hate to say it, I have more respect for Brooks, because at least he's going up to accept a challenge. I don't think he deserves said challenge, but, you got to get a boy, whatever. He's going up there. I mean, like I said, Golovkin had both of them had other options. Golovkin had more options than Kell Brooks did. I mean, honestly, you think about it. Golovkin, you got Danny Jacobs, you got Peter Quillins floating around, and you got Eubanks Jr., who you strung him along in negotiations when you knew you weren't going to fight Eubanks Jr. anyways, and that goddamn crooked ass promoter they have over there, who promotes both Eubanks Jr. and Kell Brooks, was stringing along, because he didn't want Kell Brooks to goddamn fight Jesse Vargas, because he knew Jesse Vargas no easy out for nobody. You didn't want that fight, but you don't want Thurman, you don't want Danny Garcia, you don't want those guys. So you figured, okay, if I'm going to lose making big money. You pulled an Amir Khan. You're just another con man. You're going to sit against Golovkin. Then HBO is going to sell us on how dangerous Golovkin is. HBO is going to sell us on how this and this and that. And there's a bunch of you sheep out there that's going to buy it. Here's the deal, folks. Gennady Golovkin is not the boogeyman. He's not. There's nobody really afraid of Gennady Golovkin. The problem is Tom Loeffler, his promoter, lowballs everybody to the point where they say, we're not taking the fight. Then him and HBO go out there and spin it to the world that, oh, this guy turned it down. This guy did. Yes, because if I'm Peter Quillin or I'm Danny Jacobs and I'm getting paid $1 million, $2 million to fight whoever. I mean, Peter Quillen's probably going to make about $1 million. Danny Jacobs, he's got a rematch with Sergio Mora coming up. He's probably going to make $1.5 million, $2 million for that. That's going to be on PBC. I'm making that kind of money. Why the hell you cutting me off me $500,000 to fight Golovkin? 11th Street Are you out of your fucking mind? You lowballed. You lowball everybody. You come out there, you lie to the media saying we're doing this, this, and this, and then you got everybody believing that Eubank Senior blew up negotiations. Eubank Senior ain't fucking the negotiation. Eubank Senior said, "I'm not going for your bullshit," because you probably went in there and said, "Oh, we're offering Eubank Senior, Eubanks Junior. We're telling them we're offering $3 million." You probably offered them about, maybe under a million, probably just about $1 million. Said, "Oh," and they said, whoa, give me a cut, a piece of this, give me a piece of that, give me a piece of that. You go me so little. And you said, "Oh no, we can't do that, we can't do that." And Eubank Senior said, "Oh, fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. We're not fighting for peanuts." And that's what Tom Loafer, HBO does. They lowball these guys, the quality guys. They lowball. They lowball them to the point where they said, "We're not taking that fight." What's going to happen with Gennady Golovkin? This is what's going to happen to them. They're going to fuck around, and one of these hungry young lions is going to take that little bullshit money they're trying to pay, and they're going to beat Golovkin's ass. And HBO, Jim Lampley, Max Kellerman, and all them boys are going to sit there with their mouths hung open, like when Mike Tyson got his ass beat by Buster Douglas. They're sitting there, be, "Oh shit, what the fuck happened here?" And they're going to lose the Golovkin bubble. And I mean, look, here's another thing that HBO hasn't figured out, and they're stupid about, but I hope it. HBO, Andre Ward has a 3-fight deal with HBO. He fought one when he fought, the boy. He fought one of those fights. He's about to fight 2 of that, and the third fight, unless there's been an extension, which I'm hoping that they didn't. Unless there's an extension, Andre Ward's going to turn around, beat Sergey Kovalev, and leave HBO. And you know why he's going to leave HBO? Because he's going to be offered more money to go over to Al Heyman, and I'm going to offer more money to fight Adonis Stevenson. And if Andre Ward's going to see ya. Because here's the deal. HBO is not what it used to be, and Andre Ward does not need HBO. HBO needs Andre Ward. I would like to see HBO get back to the point where they stop being so biased and start calling it down the middle. They used to be pretty good with that. They were always a little bit biased toward their fight, but they were a little more, My problem with these guys they call boxing on HBO especially is, one thing I will say about Larry Merchant. People don't like him, but I like the fact that Larry Merchant was a guy that went into the gyms. He talked to the trainers. He watched the young fighters fight. He watched the young fighters train. Larry Merchant, whether you like him or not, Larry Merchant, who had more credibility than both Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley. Well, my Lamp has more credibility than Jim Lampley. But that's what these guys don't do. They're not They say they're boxing fans, but I don't think so. I had such high hopes when they started the fight game. When they started the fight game, I had such high hopes for it. But unfortunately, it turned into another Jim Lampley farce. And the first sign to me that this thing was not going to was more based on who Jim Lampley liked and what he liked, was here's my Gaddy list. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? A Gaddy list? You had so many great fighters out there that you could have named past and present. Of all the great fighters in the world, you've named your list for the best fighters that you rank pound for pound, the Gaddy list? Arturo Gaddy's never beaten anybody of substance. Who the hell has Arturo Gaddy ever beaten of substance? Nobody. Every time he's fought a top fighter, he's gotten flattened. He's never beaten a top fighter. He couldn't even beat Carlos fucking Baldomir. Berkshire Mall with service to West Reading. Come on, man. Let's be real about the Arturo Gaddy thing. He's the most overrated fighter ever. I respect him as a fighter, but does he belong in the Hall of Fame? No. Is he so great he should be having a Gaddy list? No. Hell no. You could have named that list after Ali. You could have named that to Sugar Ray Robinson. A lot of great fighters, you could have made that list off of Arturo fucking Gaddy, because all Gaddy was good for was standing there and slugging and getting punched in the face. If that's what you like, shit, you could name it after Jake LaMotta, and I wouldn't have had a problem with that, as much of a problem as I have with fucking Gaddy. I'm just saying, and I'm sorry to go on a rant, but it's not personal, but I just, I take my boxing very seriously. And when I see travesties like that, I'm really not crazy about it. So I'm at 35 minutes. So I'm gonna let this thing go now, and I'm gonna just post this up and share it. I'll probably do another one after. Matter of fact, I'll probably do this one. Will be this after this one. I'll probably do another one. Most likely Monday morning. I'll strip down. I'll either do it at home or I'll do it before I leave work. And I'll do another one on my thoughts on the weekend here with Postal and Clarence Crawford coming up, and we got some pretty good action coming up this weekend. We'll see you. We'll talk to you later.